It's insane. It's going to be here for 3 weeks and then down. And this is an idea I had to try and explain what it must be like to get caught up in addiction. I've also made sure that this is in collaboration with people who know what it's like to be in addiction, because otherwise it's not quite so authentic. I've been close enough to addicts to know something about what's going on. I can see quite clearly what happens when there's a relapse, the reactions, the pushing away of the people that are closest to them, maybe even the pointing fingers at them because it's so painful to take responsibility for actions that are shameful. Drugs are things that can give you a sense of good things like joy and a feeling of being closer to heaven, to excitement, lots of positive feelings. And you could say, well, who's not wanting those? So in some ways I don't even look at an addict and think, they're bad people. They've actually wanted to experience good things and maybe cover some pain, betrayal that they've experienced in their life. I have a pile of lighting beads here, and that symbolizes the promise of something wonderful and positive. The guy who has created the sign here has painted it on a yellow background, and that's actually a very good idea because yellow is the colour of falsehood. And there are lots of lies that are connected to this start phase, like promises of that you will be enlightened, for example, that you'll understand the world better. There's a risk, though, that the understanding that you're getting is just not quite realistic. It's like close to the truth, but just enough beside the truth to actually make it a dangerous lie.
This picture actually made in my period of eating a lot of LSD and mushrooms. A lot of my friends from that time is pictures as a mouse and a pig. We had names for each other. When you see colors and all that stuff, that was enough colors and intrigue and drama between each other. It was a good time also. It's not only bad, but you have to know when enough is enough. So, yeah. I've got much more fucked up in this picture, so. But still a little frog standing with his little speedos and want to go baiting, and this different kind of land up there, fairy tale land with moons and faces everywhere, but more trashed up because there's not so many lines. It's not so sharp for me. So. Actually, I was stopped taking drugs. You can see I'm shooting myself in the head while I'm sniffing on the earth. So it's like an 8, 0. It's going round and round and round. So yeah, but actually I was stopped taking drugs there. I was only drinking and smoking weed. Then you have this picture in the late time of the addiction, where I fall with the boxing gloves and the steps are moving, and it's really hard for me to get foothold. Yeah, it's difficult for me, but there's still a star outside, the light somewhere. So still psychedelic, you know. The steps are moving and all the kind of colors.
So Dennis isn't the only person who knows addiction from inside that's involved in this labyrinth. I had another guy helping me design it. It was his idea that this wall should be difficult to get back through. You know, the curtains are kind of across each other and you might go the wrong way and you find yourself at the dead end. But he also wanted there to be a door that does only opens only one way. So this is a kind of point of no return. As you see, good old Christiania style, instead of using expensive spring systems, we just have a weight. So when you've gone through, the door shuts behind you.
This picture is in the middle of my addiction. I knew I had a problem, but it was difficult to me to come out of it. So it's like just rolling around myself, and these pills everywhere on the highway, rolling around with 130. That's what you go on the highway in Denmark. You have Copenhagen up here, but still with all these teeth and demons. You have dancing people around, shut out in a space, you know, and all this narco thin, drug thin, with armbands for not drowning. I'm just enjoying the party, but still I know it's fucked up, this one. So, yeah.
There are some lights here. They're sort of party lights, but they don't light very bright. They don't give much light. They look a bit old. Things are not that cool anymore. And then you have another set of drapery that's just hanging here. It's silvery. It still looks like it's trying to be festive, but it's black and silver. You have two choices, life or death. And that is, unfortunately, often the only thing that makes people stop this journey of this self-destruction. So, this room is simply the darkest place in the whole labyrinth, and let's go in. This is the place where you get harder and harder to move around. You get stuck in the balloons that were once upon a time full of air and festive, and now they become heavy and black and not so festive anymore. Down on the floor there is this crumpled up figure. There's a face and a hand. You know, the more that you develop an addiction, the more you feel like you have vanished and you've been replaced by this corpse. He's written some words here, you know, curled, crumpled up. You've been left, there's nothing, you're ruined, pain, chaos, sadness. I don't think anyone actually wishes that upon themselves or any of their friends. So we have a sign here that says life, and then bokdai, which means to go down, to basically bow, to bend your knees. One of the things that makes it so hard to get out of is that you need to admit to yourself and to others that you have a problem, and nobody finds that easy. It's very humiliating, humbling, but it's a necessary move in order to get out. So when we go through to the next stage, you actually have to bend down. This is the room when you make a decision to go for life, and we've decorated it with what looks a bit like sackcloth. And in the Old Testament times, they used to dress in sackcloth and ashes when they wanted to show remorse about something. And I didn't think about it at the time when I wrote with charcoal, but actually charcoal could represent the ashes. And I did think about the cloth here, which looks like sackcloth. So this is a place of admitting that you need help and that you've done something that's harmful to yourself and others. And many people will have heard of the 12 steps from AA and NA. And so I decided to use their steps and words. As somebody said, you know, that the 12 steps are actually designed to remove shame, not to make you feel shameful. Because once you have admitted something to another person, and especially when you admit it that you've hurt someone else, to the person that you've hurt, and they forgive, or whatever they do, you know you've done what you can do, and there's no more you can do. And that lifts the burden.
Yeah.
But we have a way out into the new world, because we don't want to stay on our knees. You want to rebuild your life. So we'll try and see if we can get through. And the way we've done it is to create a very narrow, slightly itchy corridor. We did it. This is where we came out. It's almost like rebirth. It's very narrow.
I feel rebirth.
Yeah. And there's been different thoughts of how to do the exit. And Martin, one of the ideas he had was that you actually had to listen for a sound, you know, with your ear to the ground, crawling out, because it was so important that there was a sense of humbleness. But practically, you know, some people have really bad knees. Yeah. There's things that you can't enforce on people.
I think it's a good way we did it.
And Dennis, he suggested maybe a narrow way.
You have to reach the bottom, and it's gonna get like this.
Yeah. But that's the Labyrinth. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.